The following episode of the Delta League podcast is dedicated to Tomi Anastos. The Delta League podcast. News broke that Thursday night that Detroit captain Tomi Anastos had died in a horrific multi-car collision. He sustained multiple internal injuries and burns, and he died in hospital 3 hours later. He was just 25 years old. Yeah, this is the Delta League podcast. I'm Mike AD.
I'm JD.
This is pretty fucking brutal.
How would you really start a show like that? Continue.
You know, it's this feeling never gets old. Every time we lose a player, I think we lost like at least five or six players already in Delta League. It's got to be real dangerous being a king player in Delta League.
Or just a human being nowadays.
Yeah. But the world goes on. It's our job to tell you the scores and the action. So we're just going to start out. On Monday, we're Salt Lake City looking for redemption against Chicago and Philadelphia, and they don't get it. Philadelphia wins a very low-scoring game here. Philadelphia 16, Chicago 12, Salt Lake City
3 again.
3, man. Well, for Philly, Hunter Casely had 5 blocks. Evan Parawal had 5 goals. And for Salt Lake City, nobody gave a fuck. No. And in this one, Philadelphia, 4 points. Chicago 2. Salt Lake City, you should be getting used to the misery. Let's move on to Wednesday, where we had New York against Seattle and Boston. And in this one, Seattle wins this one. Seattle 40, New York 15, Boston 8. For Seattle, Pooh McCarthy had another 15 points, and Georgios Stokidis had 5 blocks. For New York, Ruben Nygaard had 10 blocks. Before this game, New York coach Anthony Texera suddenly fell ill. He was taken to a medical facility. As a result, Coach Kyle Stevenson took over. In this one, Seattle gets the 4, New York 2, Boston nothing. And let's move on to the Saturday matinee game here, where Dallas is hosting Phoenix in Atlanta. And Phoenix wins this game. Phoenix 25, Dallas 14, Atlanta 8. For Phoenix, Jules Dassault had 5 goals. For Dallas, Lo Ang had 6 blocks. And in the end of this one, Phoenix ends up with 4. Phoenix with 4. Dallas ends up with 2. Atlanta, nothing.
We couldn't even have any statistics for Atlanta because it was that disappointing.
Yeah, we had nobody mustered jack shit in this one. Now, let's move on to something that's just unbelievable. It's Baltimore hosting Portland and Toronto, and like under normal circumstances, this would be a joyous occasion in the city of Baltimore because Baltimore wins this game big. Baltimore 53, Toronto 32, Portland 10. For Baltimore, Corey Vignali had 14 goals and 10 blocks, and Mike Brenton had 11 blocks. For Toronto, Barb White had 9 goals. And in this game, Baltimore probably scores more goals than in their previous 5 weeks combined. Just an unreal explosion of offense for this team. Now, before the team headed to Baltimore, the Riptide spent the day at a children's hospital. It must have been extremely motivating because they kicked ass all over the court. They need to do this more often. Now, Curly Barnabani, he just gets back from his honeymoon and in this game tears his pec. That's 9 weeks recovery time. Now, some scary moments in this one as Devlin Hannibal sent crashing through the goal courtesy of Portland player Sid Funk, who got black carded for that. Talk about a crash and burn of the century. Inappropriate words there. Now, in this one, Baltimore gets 4 points in this one. Toronto 2, Portland nothing. Under normal circumstances, we would be clapping on this one.
Not at all.
Yeah, wild. We're going to move on to Vancouver, who's hosting Montreal and Denver. And Denver wins this one. Denver 37, Montreal 21. Vancouver going back to shitty. 2. For Denver, Ray Rogers had 11 goals. And for Montreal, Stefan Greiss scored 6 goals. Now, Orcas player Nan Freiling showed up in the court with a nicely coiffed beard. And the ladies love this thing. Too bad it didn't translate to anything except for female arousal. And coincidentally, Maelstrom player Duke Buchanan showed up with his own beard. And the reaction to his facial hair was not good. Fans on social media pleaded with him to shave that rat-infested thing off. Denver went down with a serious case of the stomach flu. So as a result, Vince Howitt, Karen Klitschko, and Judd Blankenship spent the day on the toilet. Now, it gets worse for Mr. Howitt. He was running so hard for the toilet, he slipped, he fell, and compound fractured his arm. So he'll be out 12 weeks.
Maybe he hit his head, he will have learned how to go to the future.
Holy shit, man. Holy. Sarah V. Nolan got involved in this game, and now her suspension has been extended by 3 more games. Montreal suspended player Lalo Celli. Well, he got involved in this one, and in the process tears his adductor. The consequences for this run-in will be severe. Now, this game was also plagued by a fat male streaker, but they caught him at the end of the first period. He couldn't get there fast enough. Now, in the end of this one, Denver takes the 4 points, Montreal gets 2, and Vancouver gives the fans nothing. Now, let's move on to a crazy freaking game here. We got LA hosting Memphis and Miami, and in this one, Memphis gets their first win of the year in grand style here. Memphis 97, LA 83, Miami 26. Now, for Memphis, holy shitballs, Sancho Pastore 19 points, Shep Forsberg 17 points, William Meller had 14 points. Marcus Myers had 13 points, and it's not over because Carmelo McCall had 29 blocks, and Imogen Casely had 13 blocks. And now, for Miami, Maximus Brown and Joe Kirsch, they had 5 goals each, but that didn't mean a goddamn thing. For LA, Danny Mack had 20 freaking points in one game, and Marty Hagar had 19 points, and Lee Bang had 7 blocks. Wow, in this one, Memphis did score more points than in the last 5 points games combined. That was wild, crazy. Miami player Joe Kirsch showed up on the court with a new mustache. Online verdict is, it's horrible. He looks like a pirate. Miami players Maximus Brown, he got black carded, as well as Bob Nyhan, who got involved even though he's suspended. This guy is extending his return date for an additional couple days. Now, After this game, Memphis player Shep Forsberg called out his team for lackadaisical defensive play.
No shit.
You got 109 points scored against you. How about take the win? Because you needed it. Wow, I don't think we were really good on defense.
What do you think was going to happen?
109 points against you. Could you imagine scoring 80? How many points did LA score in this game?
They scored
83.
83. Way better than what they had last week with only 6. That's a major improvement.
Yeah. But could you imagine scoring 83 and not winning this game? That was almost worse than the game that LA had, where they scored almost 40 to 50 points and didn't get it. That's crazy. 83, that's 2 games worth of goals. And for Portland, that's a season worth of goals. Now, let's move on to Sunday afternoon because on Thursday, Tomi Anastos died in a horrific car crash. So they moved this game to as late as possible to give the team a little bit of empathy. I think they should have rescheduled this game, to be honest.
The show does not go on, okay? Like, when this horrific thing happens, we need to delay. This is an insult to his memory, to be honest. The fact that we just wiped him off the field like it was nothing to continue with the game.
I mean, you can't cancel the game, but you can move a game. And I understand the logistics of the Delta League schedule is actually hard to fit 3 teams and move them around a lot to make sure that you have space in between each game. I understand that. It's hard to give appropriate time rest under these kind of circumstances, but I do not envy the schedule makers of this, and I don't envy the team that had to go onto the court, 3 days after losing the captain of their team this way. Crazy. It was Detroit hosting Vegas and Washington, and Detroit doesn't even come out with a win on this one. Washington comes out and wins this game. Washington 31, Detroit 14. I wouldn't want to be there either. Las Vegas 9. And for Washington, Abdul Christensen had 9 goals, and Octavian Womack had 8 blocks. For Detroit, Israel Roberts had 14 blocks. And for Vegas, Tokyo Kortalewi had 6 blocks. And there was a minute's silence for Anastos, and there wasn't a dry eye in the place. This guy is going to be missed on a level that most people just can't understand. And on the way to the stadium, Washington almost didn't make it. They got into a bus crash, and players Claude Verstappen, Elix Henderson, John Kimball, and Jimbo Grover were injured, so they didn't even play in this game. This game was cursed almost right from the beginning. Now, Rock player Anastasio Polimu was yellow carded for jabbing with the official. That's a no-no. John Kimball, head wrapped up, scratched at the game, gets on the court. That's a second black card and a 3-game suspension. And in this game, Bubu Anawai tore his groin. That's 6 weeks. It's amazing that this team continues to win, even though the bench looks like a hospital ward. In addition, Vegas player Trent Penzavelli challenged fans who were critical of his play to a fight.
Not the time, man.
Yeah, 0 points, 1 block. That's no good. Grow skin or get out of the city of sin. Now, Detroit coach Zoltan Katz was tossed from this match for arguing calls with the official. I understand. Nobody wanted to be there, and on top of it all, you lost. It just sucked to be in Detroit today. So Washington leaves with 4 points. Detroit gets 2. Vegas gets nothing. And that's the games for this week.
You talk about a miserable day in your fucking life.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. We're just going to take a little look at the standings here. Seattle's on top with 22. Washington keeping pace with 20. Then we have Phoenix 19. Denver, Chicago, Detroit, and New York with 18 apiece. Then we got Philadelphia 16. Toronto 14. Miami 12, Montreal 12, Vancouver 10. Then we have Los Angeles, Boston, and Atlanta with 8. It's so wild to see some of these teams in this position. Then we got Salt Lake City 7, Memphis and Baltimore and Las Vegas 6 apiece, Dallas 4, Portland 2 bloody points. Now, let's move on to the goal leaders because it's already over. Pooh McCarthy, 86 points. The next guy is over 40 goals behind this guy. Rock Weinstein, 34 points. Then we got Marnie Johnstone and LaQuisha Hershey with 33 each. Then we have Danny Mack, who had a great week this week, 32 points. Marty Hagar, 31 points. Tomi Anastos, 30 points. Giorgio Stokidis and Carlo Flamia and Ivan Goss and Bobby Joe Singh, 29 points apiece. And 4 players have 28 points. The offensive player of the week is Danny Mack from LA with 20. What a game of a lifetime. Block leaders. After week number 6, still at the top here, Kofi Dominguez. That's what happens when you get 45 blocks in a game. Then we have Jackson Truman with 45, Morse Scudder with 38, Eli Ercolani with 37, Frederick Giacalone with 35, Carmelo McCall with 34, Octavian Womack with 33, Bart Spratt and Sebastiano Guarnieri with 28, then Israel Roberts, Rhino Montalban, and Rock Weinstein with 26 blocks apiece. The defensive player of the week is Carmelo McCall with 29 blocks this week in that crazy game in Memphis. Crazy. Now, up at the top, your GXP rating. Rock Weinstein, 884. The late, great Tomi Anastos, 570. Carmelo McCall, 544. Bart Spratt, 532. Sebastiano Guarnieri, 532. We got LaQuisha Hershey and Octavian Womack with 528. Andy Alway with 483. Rob Donoff to 440. Rhino Montalban, 416. Das Hawthorne, 414. Ash Malik and Randall Kurzweil, 400. Now,
we're going to get into the details now. We want to save it for last, but
yeah,
it's not going to be fun.
No, it's not going to be fun because this Thursday ran Tomi Anastos. He was involved in a multi-vehicle collision. Word is the road conditions were poor. The accident happened when a tractor trailer containing aviation fuel jackknifed, causing a multiple vehicle pileup, causing 20 cars to lose control, pile up and catch fire. Dozens of drivers sustained second and third degree burns and broken limbs and other severe injuries. 7 drivers, including the driver of the truck, did not survive. Anastos was transported to the emergency department, but he did not survive the internal injuries and burns he sustained. He was 25 years old. Tomi Anastos will be remembered as a member of the Seattle Pirates team when they won the inaugural championship. He was the MVP of that particular final. In his second season, he was traded out of Seattle to Detroit after a violent altercation with his general manager. In his third season, he became the team's captain and was developing into one of the league's more well-rounded players. It's a shame that this untimely passing comes at the peak of his playing career. Condolences to his family, his friends, and his teammates for what must be a devastating loss. That's crazy. That one hit me harder than almost any of the other players that we've lost.
What disappoints me the most is that Detroit couldn't even win, losing one of their best players.
Yeah.
I know it has nothing to do with it, but this is for your teammate. You could have at least won the game. But now you made it seem like you'll never come even close to the levels you were without him.
Yeah.
I don't see any good things happening for Detroit for the rest of the season.
Yeah. Well, you know what? In any other week, the next story would be the number one story. But when we lose a player such as Anastos, this just goes out the window. And Salt Lake City owner Phil King has sold the team to a new ownership group, including businessman Michael Kokarokia, and they're relocating the team to St. Louis.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a sad day for Swarm fans who never saw a winning season in 3 years, and now their team is history. More info on this insane news as it becomes available. Now,
It seems like 3's their unlucky number.
yeah, it is, isn't it?
2 weeks in a row getting 3 points and not having a winning season 3 years, yeah.
I think that they got maybe 2 wins in 3 years.
Well,
It's pretty freaking horrific, man.
so long to Salt Lake Shitty.
Well, you're going to get her off to St. Louis next year. Well, Montreal player Lalo Celli has been suspended for life by the league. Commissioner Darcy DeMello explained his continually destructive behavior that ultimately led to his termination. Now, LA player Clark Crapeau came out as critical of the commissioner, and you can get mad at Darcy. He's been exemplary. I mean, apparently Clark believes that he needs to be more colorful, more representative of the league. I guess Mr. DeMello had to wear a loud suit, openly take ecstasy, swear, be rampantly racist and homophobic, and Delta League needs more of that.
This guy's insane.
The league is kind of crazy, and you know what? The league needs this bedrock of a commissioner. Some freaking stability.
Some humility would be nice.
Yeah, Christ, I like Darcy. Fire Demons player Chucky Sponga came out and declared bankruptcy this week. He said, "I'm not looking for any sympathy or anything. I've got gambling debts. I made some bad investments. I lived a little too high on the hog, a little too far above my means, and I'm working through it."
Clearly not. You've lost it.
You literally have no money now. I don't know whose couch he's going to be,
I lock my doors at night. He ain't getting a fucking answer from me.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like, you get paid really, really well. Like, who's going to take you in?
Meth is a hell of a drug.
Yeah. Ego can be one hell of a fucking drug. Atlanta player Free Gilliam said this week that he cannot pay his medical bills. He has amassed a large amount of personal debt working through various injuries that he's suffered in the last 3 years. His only hope is he can get a good contract next year and maybe get him into the black, because he'd hate to be the only Delta player living in his car. How about Chucky Sponga?
Probably had to sell it too.
Jesus Christ, man.
I bet he's probably regretting that he's not Canadian right about now.
Jesus Christ, man. Now, let's move on to Week 7 games and predictions before we bid everyone adieu. Now, we got Washington hosting Vancouver and Dallas. And last week, holy shit, the Power went into a game down 5 players and still came out with the victory. I have zero confidence that the Orcas or the Lone Stars can pull this off. So I'm taking Washington to keep pace with the Pirates this week.
You can't have any confidence in Vancouver after what they've scored this week. They might as well have just traded points with Dallas from last week.
Yeah. Wow. And now on Wednesday, we got Atlanta against Detroit and Boston. I mean, this week the Rock lost their captain and their star player in a horrific car crash. And regardless of this fact, they're still better than Atlanta and Boston. The real question is, are the Rock psychologically ready for the rest of the year?
Considering how the last game went, I'm going to have some doubts in that.
Yeah. I think the Rock are just a little bit too much for these teams to handle anyway. The way Atlanta's playing, or should I say, the way Atlanta's opposition are playing, they've already equaled last year's point total. That's incredible. They only had 8 points all year last year.
Considering the fact that this week Atlanta and Boston tied for the same amount of points, I can at least see Detroit winning, but it seems almost out of pity at this point.
Yeah. I'm going to take Atlanta to finish second. Again. Now, let's move on to the Saturday matinee game here, where Las Vegas is hosting Chicago and Baltimore. And Chicago's a hungry dog that's been given 2 fresh bones to munch on here, and there's going to be nothing left. Let's be honest. Pride for 4.
I mean, Las Vegas coming off of last week with 0 points, and now they have 9 from this week. You think things would go higher, but they can't get past double digits. They're not going to have a future.
Yeah. Then we got Philly hosting Montreal and New York, and this is a good freaking game on paper here. New York is looking very good these last few weeks, and Philly, they've looked even better. Philly's rattled off at least 3 straight victories. And the sad part is someone has to take the L here. And if I had to choose, that team is Montreal. Because they're Montreal. That's why.
That's everything I had to say.
Let's move on to Miami, who's going to host Salt Lake City and Phoenix. And Phoenix has had a very favorable schedule. Let's be honest here. This first half a dozen weeks. And you know what? They've made the best of them. Some teams have literally choked on some of their really favorable schedules. Now, they should collect the 4 points from this gift and keep them in the reserve because they're going to need them because there's dark times coming because they got to play Chicago. They still got to play Seattle, Denver, New York, and Washington. And that is going to be a grueling war of attrition, and they know it's coming.
We got to look at the worst scenario in this case with Salt Lake City, the fact that they couldn't increase their shots for the past 2 weeks, and now they've been sold and will be defunct at the end of the year. Will the morale even keep them in check for the next game?
Exactly, man. Man, start selling your house right now, man.
You better sell your stock right now.
That's crazy. They just better, you know what, when they relocate to St. Louis, they just got to, wipe the slate clean and start brand new. Last week, okay, now we're on to Denver and Los Angeles and Memphis. And last week, LA and Memphis put up 150 points combined. And now this week, they go up against the defending champions. And Denver is a sleeping bear that everyone is waiting for to wake up. People don't want... Okay, they want to see the horror movie that ensues when the hibernation stops. And 6 weeks in, and the slasher film could be better. Despite being the top-rated offensive team in this league, this team appears to be in a coma. And some are wondering if this team is just overrated. Well, this week, they're against 2 teams that take a shit kicking and put up a bunch of points only to disappear again. Now, Denver is just too good to lose to either of these 2. But we've heard that one before.
I've also heard chicken waffles are disappointing and overrated, but we've been proven wrong. We'll see if history can repeat itself and prove wrong.
Absolutely. And now let's move on to Seattle, hosting Portland and Toronto. And here's a chance for Toronto to prove themselves against the league's best team. But so far, Toronto has had mixed results, despite making some excellent personnel changes. Do I think they're a playoff team? No question. I honestly believe something has to seriously go wrong on this Seattle side for someone to compete against them. And Portland? Who am I kidding? At least T.O. is getting the 2 points out of this one. Guaranteed.
I can at least see Toronto being at least first or second in this game. They're playing more than I can say that the Toronto Leafs are, sorry to say. So it's good to have a team that will at least break you to the point of, are they going to win or are they going to come close? You don't want a team that you're going to know is going to shit the bed.
Yeah.
But for now, that's going to be all for us with, mixed reviews and unfortunately sad news for tonight.
Yeah, so due to the sad events, we're foregoing the mailbag again.
Yeah, it's not a good time, guys. We apologize.
Yep. So, rest in peace, Tommy. It's been real.